Hi guys, welcome to YS Khong Driving. We are in the town of Kota Bharu, the capital of Kelantan, and we are in the Perodua Alza, the all-new 7-seater Alza. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a bit of city driving to see how the Alza behaves when it's being driven in a city environment like this and not on the highway. And we'll give you our driving impressions. Well, to start off, the Alza has a 106 PS double overhead cam engine that comes from the Toyota family, and incidentally this is the same engine that powers the Vios, the Yaris and the Myvi. So we get 138 Newton meters of torque and a 7-speed CVT that drives the front wheels. So why a CVT? Because the previous Alza had a 4-speed automatic, and with 4 speeds, the thing is you need to be able to have the vehicle take off properly, and also you need it to have a small gap between the gears so that it doesn't have to have a big jump between one gear to the other. You know, like in the old cars, after first gear you go to second and the engine kind of bogs down. Then when you go to third gear, it also bogs down. So a CVT is a seamless transition of speeds from 0 to hero, and also the top ratio is very high, and that allows you to have a very tall ratio, and that means the engine turns a little and the car moves at a high speed, and that is very useful at high speeds, because then when you are off throttle or when you're on steady throttle, the load on the engine is not so high and it goes to the highest gear. So we did a test drive yesterday at 110 kilometers per hour. We are going at about 2000 RPM, and at 2000 RPM the engine consumes less fuel than it does at 5000 RPM or 4000 RPM. Of course, when you step on the accelerator and need power, then it shifts down to the correct gear automatically. You don't have to even change gears, and it will give you the power to accelerate. Well, on top of that, you also have the plus minus lah. But in the city, you don't use all of that. You just drive it, put it into D, and you drive. Okay, it's drizzling a little bit. We'll just turn off the wipers. Yes. And we're going to drive through the city and give you the impression. Now, taking off is not a problem because the car will slowly creep forward if you let go of the brake, and it is a very smooth acceleration as you go up. Now, mostly in the city, you won't be driving very fast. See, like now there's traffic and there's a bus behind me and there's a car parked in front of me, so I have to slow down. And then there is my blind spot warning telling me there's a car beside me, and so I have to stop and let them pass. Yep, tells me the truck is coming by. So the blind spot warning is very good. And at city driving speeds, how does it feel? Okay, it's very smooth. You want to accelerate, it will accelerate, and brakes are good. Ventilated disc in the front and the disc at the back, and they stop the car very well. And so they also have an auto start stop, and right now the engine is off. That helps to save fuel, but it's a hot day, so you can turn it off with just a button here, and the engine keeps on running and you have your air conditioner on. But if you really want to save fuel, you can run with this auto start stop button on, and when you come to a traffic light, if there's enough charge in the battery, it will switch off the engine, and then it may come back on again depending on the state of condition of your battery. Yeah. So so far driving in town, we have not gone very far, but let's carry on. We are at the traffic light, and if you need to creep at the traffic light, all you got to do is take your foot off the brake and it will slowly move forward. Yeah. Oh, there's also an auto hold button, and if you press the hold button, it will not move at all until you accelerate. Yes. So there are two functions here. I prefer it to be able to creep a little bit because in case you need to make any adjustments while you're stopped, you just release your brake a bit and you go. Now, inside the car, you don't hear the engine so much, especially when you're driving at low speed. And most of what you hear is a little bit of tire noise, yes. And other than that, you get a very low pitch roar from the engine. It feels just like what a B segment car should be like lah. But in terms of size, this length of this vehicle is very long. With a wheelbase of 2750 mm, it actually has a lot of space and you actually have a real 7-seater. Although in truth, the rear passenger has to be like my size or smaller. Anything bigger than me, you might have a bit of issues with the knee room. But I would expect that you use this car most of the time as a 5-seater, and then when it's necessary, you can have it as a 7-seater. So the rear seats do fold down and you can use that extra space. Then it becomes like a normal MPV that's 5-seater with a lot of luggage room. Now if you have 7 people, you may have a problem with luggage if you're traveling outstation. But if you're going for lunch or dinner, 7 people in a family, no problem at all. Okay, the light has turned green and the cars are moving forward. That's why I like the creep function. You can actually creep forward slowly. So it has an electrical power steering and it works pretty well. So let's feel the gear change. You can hardly feel or hear the gear changes because they are quite smooth, and there are actually changes, but well, it's a CVT, so it feels pretty good. And power response is instantaneous. You don't have to worry about being in the wrong gear. It behaves just like an automatic. The only difference is the ratios are very, very close to each other. In fact, they are seamlessly changing all the time. It's basically two conical rotating drums with a belt in between. Yeah. And so the ratios between drive and driven change according to the load. And CVTs generally will offer you much better fuel consumption. Now in terms of noise insulation, you can hear traffic coming past and all that, but it's not bad. This is after all a B segment vehicle and it's also quite basic, but they have done a good job and they have put in very nice trim. For this one you get two-tone, brown and black, and even though the materials are not soft touch, they are still pretty nice to look at. So in terms of looks, it's fine. But when you buy a car like this, it is more for the utility than for the looks, yeah. Of course it must look nice lah, and it does look nice. So how is the ride? There are some mixed reactions. One of the media said it's softer, but I think it's very nice and firm. Actually, it's about how the vehicle is adapted to the conditions that it has to drive in. Now, being a B segment vehicle and it has to carry 7 people, they actually have to make the suspension a little bit harder so that when you load into the full, it does not become too soft. But for me, having it a little bit firmer is good because around the corners it handles very well. Yes, we took it up Genting in the wet and I was actually quite impressed with the handling of the vehicle. And in the city, I'm driving alone, so it does feel a little bit harsh when you're driving alone, but when we had 3 people and luggage yesterday, it felt very nice. So I think they have tuned this car to be at its best when it's on half load. So yesterday with 3 people and luggage, it was about 4 people, so it's a little bit more than half load. It felt very nice. So I suppose with 2 people and luggage, or 3 people, it will be very, very nice. For 1 person, it may be a little bit on the stiff side, but well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. You can make it softer if you want by having a set of softer springs, if you can get them. But what's going to happen is when you carry a full load, your car is going to wallow. Yeah, it will be like a motorboat. So I think in so far as Perodua is concerned, they have done a very, very good job. So driving in the city, there's really not much you can talk about except the ride comfort, which is good. The handling, well, any car will handle in the city because there are no hard corners. The only thing you get is at the junctions where you turn left or you turn right, and of course you are going slow, so it really doesn't matter. But of most concern would be the taking off, the braking, the aircon. Yes, it's nice and cold. There are many speeds. There's a digital controller for the aircon. No issues there. And in terms of safety, it's all there. Most of the time you will not activate it, but if you do come across any situation where you are reversing and the car comes behind, your RCTA will take care of you. If you are daydreaming and you go too close to the car in front, there will be a warning that you are too close, and then if you do not brake, the car will brake for you. Of course, don't depend on it 100% because it all depends on how much grip there is and things like that, and the state of your tires. And if you don't have enough grip, it may mitigate the collision, but it may not prevent you from hitting the car in front. But if you do, it will be to a lesser degree lah. So that's what the ADAS system is all about. For me, I don't really care about the ADAS system. Yeah, that's my personal thing. It's good to have it there, but I believe that to be a good driver, you have to be a good driver. You've got to be in control of the car yourself, right? Yeah. So, well, traction control is good, but if I'm going up Genting, I want to turn it off. But of course, for most people, it's good to have it there because it helps to keep you safe. Okay, I don't like driving in the city so much because there's so much traffic and Malaysian drivers do all kinds of unpredictable things. Alright, so overall, how do I feel about this car? Well, it's got nice power. It handles okay. It can stop, and it's very economical on fuel. I think if I need a city roundabout, this would certainly be in my list for consideration. Alright guys, thanks for... see, that's the warning. That was a lane departure warning in operation. Yes, I had to move out a little bit, and because I didn't signal, it tells me you are out of the lane. Alright guys, so anyway, thanks very much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe, yeah? Alright then, till we meet again in the next video. Cheers!